Now I want to have a look at the ecosystem and global biodiversity. And the question I like to look at there is the one where you look at the different management practices in two different locations for the ecosystem that you've studied. In our case, we're going to have a look at the Great Barrier Reef and the Coral Triangle. You need an opening sentence, very brief, which basically says what are the characteristics of those two places, those two ecosystems, the same ecosystem in two different locations. All right? The size, the population that it supports, the number of species, and a whole pile of other things like that. Not too much, but enough to give the setting. But the most important point is the comparison needs to be made due to three factors. The economic factors that contribute to the management, the political factors that contribute to the management, and the social factors that contribute to the management. Now let's have a look about how we can do this. If you can imagine a table with across the top Great Barrier Reef and the Coral Triangle, and then down the left-hand side, you're going to have introduction, political, economic, and social factors. Let's break that down for the Great Barrier Reef. Okay, let's compare the Great Barrier Reef and the Coral Triangle. From a statistical introductory point of view, the Great Barrier Reef is about 344,000 square kilometres compared to 6 million square kilometres in the Coral Triangle. It has about 1 million people in the catchment in the Great Barrier Reef and 120 million in the catchment in the Coral Triangle. So clearly it's a different management to start with just by the size. Then also the Great Barrier Reef has a lower level of biodiversity compared to the Coral Triangle. So there's a lot of information in that space for you. The other additional thing is, for a point of comparison, is the key economic side of the Great Barrier Reef is tourism, whereas the key economic side of the Coral Triangle is fishing, because they get the resources from the ocean, and there's about 2.5 million people involved in fishing in the Coral Triangle. Let's look at the political comparison. In Australia, the Great Barrier Reef, the political response to human-induced changes is pretty well managed by one government, the Australian government, and the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Authority. Whereas in the Coral Triangle, it has multiple countries, okay, and not one political management structure. So they actually have the Coral Triangle Initiative, which tries to coordinate all the different countries, and it has the regional plan of action. Okay, so they're the things that happen in that space. Probably the regional plan of action is probably not dissimilar to the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Authority under the auspices of the Australian government.